and I think also in India, and it's just very nice to be able to sit down here and be able to speak to so many devotees around the world. So we welcome everyone today. We'll probably spend about half an hour to 45 minutes discussing some nice significance of Lord Ram and his wonderful qualities. The whole point of remembering the Lord on his appearance day is to actually remember him. And this word remember is known as smaran in Srimad Bhagavatam and in our scriptures. So it's very important for us to remember Krishna in his wonderful forms and his wonderful avatars. And that's the reason why we have come together today, so that somehow or another, by remembering Krishna, by remembering Lord Ram, by remembering his wonderful pastimes, Bhagavatam tells us then that there is no possibility of us coming back into this world. Because just by remembering the Lord and his lotus feet, then this cycle of birth and death can actually be cut. And we want to thank Balaram Prabhu and the Minneapolis congregation for taking the initiative to invite so many devotees to join, because this is how we should be spending our time together, even in the midst of all these challenging circumstances that we have.
And that's muted.
Okay, so let's start by remembering something very important about Lord Ram. The most important thing we should remember is that Lord Ram is actually not a mythical figure. This is a very important point. He is actually none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Neither is he an ordinary person, neither is he a very great human being. So we should be very clear that Krishna and Lord Rama, they are the source, the maintainer, and the controller of uncountable universes in this world. Lord Ram is present in our hearts as the super soul, and he's in the heart of every living entity. And Lord Ram knows everything which is past, present, and future. Another important thing Srimad Bhagavatam says is that Lord Ram is complete. In other words, he is full of what we call the 6 opulences. And these 6 opulences only the Supreme Personality of Godhead can possess. And what are they? The Supreme Personality of Godhead is full in terms of strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. So these are the great 6 qualities. Prabhupada says in many lectures that some human beings, some living entities may have some of these qualities. And even if they have some of these qualities, they may have them in very minute portions. So it's not considered to be complete at all. Someone may be famous, but they may not be very strong. Someone may have some wealth, but they may have not so much knowledge. Someone may possess some beauty, but they are very attached to it, so there's no renunciation. So like this, it's very difficult to find anyone in this world who has all these 6 qualities in their full quantities and qualities. Even the Devatas do not have such amazing qualities, but Lord Ram, he is complete. He is the reservoir of all auspicious qualities, and his ultimate goal of life for not just the devotees, but even the yogis, the renunciates, but the devotees especially, because the devotees always glorify his inconceivable pastimes. I think the best way to remember Lord Ram is also to remember a wonderful purport that Srila Prabhupada writes in Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Ramchandra is actually described in 2 portions of Bhagavatam. One is of course in the 9th canto, where there are 2 chapters dedicated to him. If you have time, my humble request is for you all to read these chapters when you can. They give you such a wonderful summary of the entire pastime of Lord Ram. But another area of 4 or 5 verses that are found in Srimad Bhagavatam is actually in the 5th canto. And in the 5th canto, we find in the 19th chapter, there are 4 or 5 very beautiful verses dedicated to Lord Ram. So when you have time, you should also look at those verses. But Prabhupada speaks about Lord Ram very nicely in the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, the 5th chapter, 26th verse, 1:5:26. And there, Lord Ram says very nice, Srila Prabhupada says very nicely, that Lord Sri Rama is the absolute personality of Godhead. He doesn't even use the word supreme, he says absolute personality of Godhead. And he is attractive not only in his personal features, but also in his transcendental activities. So when we want to be attracted to the Lord, we should be attracted and we should remember his activities, and we should also remember his personal features. And why is that so? Because Prabhupada says the absolute is absolute by his name, his fame, his form, his pastimes, his entourage, paraphernalia, etc. The Lord, as Ramchandra, descends on this material world out of his causeless mercy, and he displays his various transcendental pastimes as a human being, so that human beings attracted towards him can become ready and prepared to go back to Godhead. So Prabhupada is giving us such a nice understanding of why Lord Ram appeared in his pastimes as a human being. Srila Prabhupada goes on in the purport. He says men are naturally apt to hear histories and narrations of various personalities performing mundane activities, without knowing that by such association one is simply wasting valuable time, and that's an important thing. And the moment we hear about mundane history, Prabhupada says that we become addicted to the three qualities of material nature. So instead of wasting time, one can get spiritual success by turning his attention. This is a nice word Prabhupada uses. By turning his attention to the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. By hearing the narrations and the pastimes of the Lord, what happens to us? Prabhupada says we contact directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And just by hearing the Personality of Godhead, from within the heart, whatever accumulated sins of the mundane creature, that's all of us, these sins are actually cleared. And the moment these sins are cleared, the hearer gradually becomes liberated. And this liberation is from what? It's from mundane association. And we become attracted to the features of the Lord. That's why all of you are gathered today. Because you don't want to hear something mundane. You want to hear something which is extraordinary. And this can only come from the pastimes of Krishna. So it is stated very nicely. Prabhupada concludes the purport by saying that one can attain the highest perfection of life simply by attentive hearing of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord from the right sources. Very important. Let's remember that line again from Srila Prabhupada. One can attain to the highest perfection of life simply by attentive hearing. Prabhupada uses the word simply because we should be very simple to become attentive. This is a very important point. Sometimes we ask ourselves how to become attentive to hear about Krishna, how to become attentive to hear about Lord Ram. The answer is given in this beautiful purport. If our existence becomes simple, if our thinking becomes simple, or as in the words of Guru Maharaj, if we don't complicate matters in life, then what happens is we actually become attentive. And this attentive hearing must actually be about his transcendental pastimes. Not my pastimes, not your pastimes. Our pastimes nobody wants to hear. But Krishna's pastimes and Lord Ram's pastimes, we can hear and hear and hear and never get tired. I think many of us, coming from traditional backgrounds, we have been hearing the story of Lord Ram since we were young. But this story of Lord Ram is no story. It is the transcendental pastime. And that's why we relish it over and over and over again. If you tell the story of a historical personality, you get tired of it. But here, thousands and millions of years have passed, and we are still attentively hearing. This is the meaning of transcendental. And this process of hearing, Prabhupada says, must be from the right sources. And who is the right source? Srila Prabhupada. And where is this right source? Srimad Bhagavatam. And so just this process of hearing must be done in the association of devotees. And it is especially recommended in this age of quarrel Kali. Wonderful point by Srila Prabhupada. And even though we may all be physically separated, so to speak, in one sense, the truth of the matter is that we are all connected now. Somehow or another we are using technology. We didn't have to spend money traveling all the way to US. You did not have to spend time, Balaram Prabhu did not have to put aside a room for me to sit down in. And in this way, we are all still connected. This is the greatness of Krishna consciousness. This is the greatness of consciousness of Lord Ram. So there are so many ways to discuss Lord Ram, Ram's pastimes. But one very nice way of discussing it in a short period of time for us to understand him is to try and understand Lord Ram through his qualities. Because when we try to understand the Lord through his qualities, then we come to relish his pastimes. At the same time, on a practical level, we learn so many things from Lord Ram. How to live in this material world despite all the challenges. Spiritual life should not be in the sky, where we hear something very wonderful or very esoteric, and then we go back and there is no value to how we can live our lives. There's no change, no way of looking at how to improve the quality of our spiritual life. So we should try to understand Lord Ram from that position. And the best way to understand him then is through his opulences. If we try to understand the Lord through his opulences, then you find that for every opulence that Lord Ram portrayed in his transcendental pastime, there is some quality that we can derive. And we can understand him from that point much better. Of course, in the end, nobody can understand the Lord unless the Lord grants his mercy. And nobody can understand the Lord unless we seek the blessings of Guru. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. And with that blessing, we go on with the pastimes of Lord Ram. Lord Ram's strength is supposed to be a very powerful quality. And strength is one of the great opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Lord Ram was a young boy, he and Lakshman were asked by Vishwamitra to go to the forest. And Vishwamitra sought the permission of King Dasharath, if you recall, to ask that Lord Ram, as a young man, with Lakshman, they actually go to the forest to get rid of all the demonic forces that were harassing the sages and the devotees who were living in the forest. With great reluctance, of course, Dasharatha allowed Lord Ram to go, but only on condition that Lakshman should also go. That was the great attachment that a great devotee like Dasharath had for his son, Lord Ram. So while in the forest, if you recall, Lord Ram displayed great strength, even as a young boy. At that time, if we read Ramayana, he would hardly have been in his younger part of teenage years actually. And yet, he and Lakshman conquered all the demons to the great satisfaction of Vishwamitra. And then Vishwamitra decided to bring Lord Ram and Lakshman over to Mithila. And there he introduced them to King Janak. King Janak's daughter was the great Mother Sita. And if you remember the pastime of Ramayana, you know that Sita was not born to King Janaka and his wife. He was one day leveling this field outside his kingdom for a sacrifice, for a yajna. And the king himself was leveling it with his chariot when suddenly he came across this little bit of furrow, F-U-R-R-O-W. It's a space, in the field. And he started digging it up, and in that mound he saw a beautiful baby girl. And she looks completely transcendental. And he thought, where has this child come from? And he decided that this child was given to him by providence. And so he raised her, and she came to be known as Sita. Sita means furrow, from the place of the earth from which she came from actually. So Sita grew up to be a beautiful maiden. And Ramayana tells us that she was the symbol and the embodiment of virtue and chastity. So many people, many great kings wanted to marry Sita. But King Janaka wanted someone who would be equal to her, and if not superior. And so he put down a condition, and that condition was, somehow or another, somebody should be able to lift a great bow of Lord Shiva, which Lord Shiva used millions of years ago to check the impudence of Daksha. So that bow was actually left over with King Janaka. And many people, Ramayana tells us, many great kings tried to carry the bow. They could not even carry it. But the idea was, the condition was, that if you wanted to marry my daughter, then you have to do it only after lifting the bow and stringing the bow. Otherwise there was no possibility. So many people tried and many people failed. So when Lord Ram came with Vishwamitra, Vishwamitra invited Lord Ram to please do it. Janaka was quite surprised. He looked at Lord Ram's physical features, and the physical features were very delicate, but they belied great strength. So he said, all right, if Vishwamitra, you think this young boy can actually do it, then let me call for the bow to come out. And if you read Ramayana, you realize that it took 500 men, not 5 men, but 500 men had to put that immense bow on it was already encased in a chest, and it was mounted on a cart with 8 huge wheels, and it took 500 men just to move the bow into the arena. Even the great devas could not bend the bow, what to speak of stringing it. But Lord Ram, Ramayana tells us, what did he do? He just looked at the bow, he picked up the bow. No, he did not pick it up yet. He put his hand in the middle of the bow, and then with no great effort, he just picked it up effortlessly. And after picking it up, he strung it in an instant. In other words, it was a very fluid movement. And then Ramayana tells us he bent the bow with great force. And because of the bending of the bow with such a force, the bow actually snapped in the middle just after he had strung it. That was the great strength, this great opulence of Lord Ram was displayed in this wonderful pastime. And Ramayana tells us that cracking sound was so thunderous that it produced a sound so great as if the mountains were bursting or the mountains were collapsing. You know, in Bhagavatam and Ramayana, one thing wonderful about these scriptures, they give you great comparisons, so that even if you forget everything else, when you remember the bow now, you think of the breaking of the bow, and you remember how mountains can come down, that kind of sound. And Ramayana tells us that that sound was so thunderous that everybody who gathered to watch this great event, they fell down. They actually collapsed because of the greatness and power of the sound. Only 4 people were standing. Lakshman, because he is non-different, he's Balaram. King Janaka, because he's a great devotee of the Lord. Lord Ram, of course, because he actually strung the bow. And Vishwamitra, because he was a great benefactor and a great sage also. Of course, sometimes I remember asking Guru Maharaj, there are only 4 names there. What about Sita? You know, was she present there? But Guru Maharaj told me Sita was not present at that moment because she was actually in her chambers. And if someone had actually been able to string the bow, then Janaka would have asked Sita to come out. So that's why Sita Mata was not there. So this very simple but very beautiful pastime tells us how powerful Lord Ram was, and how powerful Lord Ram continues to be, because he's eternally in our lives. So strength in the Supreme Personality of Godhead is extraordinary. Another example in Ramayana I can try to recall is right at the end of Ramayana. And there the Supreme Lord Ram also displayed his strength. Because in the great battle between him and Ravana, if you recall, at least 7 to 8 days Lord Ram and Ravana fought. It wasn't a one-day fight. And it was continuous battle. There was no eating, no sleeping, and no resting. It was such an intense battle that on both sides, the demons and the Vanaras were thinking, how would this battle end? And at one point of time, Ramayana tells us that Lord Ram kept shooting amazing arrows to sever the head of Ravana. And he had 10 heads. And every time one head fell, another head would substitute the other head. And at one point, Lord Ram is asking himself this question. He's asking, these arrows that I have shot, they have been able to slay so many demons in the past. Yet these arrows cannot slay Ravana. How powerful he is. How amazing is his strength. Now, the great acharyas, they tell us that strength is not only physical strength. If you look at devotional service, one of the great aspects of strength is actually the strength of determination. Determination is actually how a devotee expresses his strength. A devotee doesn't express his strength by beating people up. He doesn't express his strength by physically showing how strong he is, lifting this and lifting that. No. The same way Lord Ram showed his determination to vanquish Ravana despite all the obstacles, that is the same determination a devotee must have in the place of all physical obstacles there may be. That is the real meaning of strength in devotional service. The other important meaning of strength in devotional service is expressed through another quality of the Lord, and that quality is the quality of humility. Humility. Our entire movement is based on Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahisna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. And this is such an important point, Professor Mataji, because until we develop humility, we do not have the strength to chant Krishna's names constantly. Humility is what gives us the strength to continue devotional service, because the Lord becomes very attracted to humility. In this pastime between Lord Rama and his last battle with Ravana, sometimes people may say, Rama was actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why did he doubt his own strength? It was not doubt, but it was humility. And how did he express his genuine humility? By saying that even though Ravana was a very unworthy person, but as a true Kshatriya, and that was Lord Ram's occupation at that time, to be the perfect Kshatriya, he could appreciate his enemy was on the opposite side of the camp. And he did so without claiming that I am supreme, I am superior to you. Nowhere does Lord Ram actually claim that. And that is actually the fine point of strength. And when he thought that way, it took another great devotee known as Matali. And Matali turned to Lord Ram and said, my dear Lord, why are you feeling discouraged? You have unlimited potency, my Lord. You are so powerful. With one arrow, if you desire, even now you can vanquish Ravana. But you are doing this only to give him some credibility as a great body. So Matali reminded the Lord, like great devotees transact with the Lord in loving manner, that Lord, you are very powerful. The same thing happened to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Amog, the son-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when he actually criticized Mahaprabhu for eating so much, even though he's a sannyasi, what did Mahaprabhu do? Mahaprabhu did not exhibit his strength by shooting down or vanquishing Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. To vanquish Amog. He did not do that. Do you know what he told Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? He said that actually what Amog said has some truth to it. After all, I am a sannyasi. What business do I have eating so many dishes? This strength of humility is actually the road, the royal road to pure devotional service. And Lord Ram displayed his strength not just physically, but he displayed it in all the value of humility and his determination. So this is a very important meditation on his strength and the opulence of strength that we should have. So in the end, when Matali had spoken like that, Lord Ram then smiled, and then he took one arrow and he chanted very powerful mantras to it. And then he put the arrow to the end of his string of the bow. And as he began stringing it, Ramayana tells us that the earth began to tremble. That was how powerful this arrow was. The earth began to shudder. The heavens actually fell into confusion. And when this arrow was released, Ramayana tells us that this arrow sped through the air, right through the air so fast, and like death itself, it pierced the heart of Ravana. Despite 7 days of Ravana showing his strength, it took one arrow finally when the Supreme Personality of Godhead wanted to do so. It took one arrow. It pierced Ravana's chest so violently that it went through his heart like a thunderbolt. It entered the earth after going through his body, and through the earth it came out, and it went back into the quiver of Lord Ram. What an arrow! Amazing arrow. The arrow is amazing because it actually came from the Lord. The source of the greatness of the arrow is actually the Lord himself. And Ravana instantly died. And this was the great power of Lord Ram. So this is strength. Another quality we can think about, which the Supreme Personality of Godhead has in full, is the quality of renunciation. And renunciation, very often we think of renunciation as saffron robes, danda, and very often we think of someone who is very renounced, giving up material possessions in the world. But in Ramayana, Lord Ram displayed his renunciation in many ways. But one of the prominent ways he displayed his renunciation was actually through his marriage to Sita. So we may think renunciation and marriage may go ill together, because when you get married to someone, the chances of you becoming attached to that person is very great. And then when you have children, you also become attached to them. But that is the life of one who is attached in this material world. Srila Prabhupada told us from Bhagavatam that the householder who is dedicating his activities and his family's activities to Krishna, that householder is actually considered to be a renunciate. And if that householder is chaste, because he is only having one person in mind, and that is Krishna, and he gathers and engages all his family members in Grahastha ashram to concentrate on the glories of Lord Ram, to remember and serve the Lord, then he is as good as a sannyasi. This is a very powerful statement that Srila Prabhupada made. And specifically to Ramayana, Lord Ram displayed his renunciation through his chastity and his single-minded determination to be faithful to Sita. This is a very important point. Janaka gave away Sita, and when he gave away Sita at the point of the wedding, Ramayana tells us that his voice was trembling with emotion. Because the father, when they give away the daughters, it's a very painful process, because fathers are very attached to their daughters naturally. And how can one not be attached as a father to the transcendental Sita? So Janaka told Lord Ram in Ramayana, "O noble prince, this is my daughter Sita. Please take her hand and accept her as your lifelong partner. She is a reservoir of all auspicious qualities, and she will forever be devoted to you as faithfully as your own shadow." So this is another great quality that we learn not just from Lord Ram, but from his energy, Mother Sita. Mother Sita's love and chastity to Lord Ram was so powerful that actually, if you study Ramayana very carefully, the day Ravana destroyed himself was actually the day when he laid his hands on Mother Sita. Long before that final arrow that we just spoke about entered into his heart, it was his laying of hands on the paragon of chastity and determination, Mother Sita, that actually destroyed Ravana. That was the day it was destroyed. So Mother Sita is the embodiment of renunciation, because she renounced everything else to be completely devoted to Lord Ram. And this requires determination. So you see, in the opulence of strength, determination is such an important virtue. And you find in renunciation also, determination is such an important virtue. In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I think it is verse 44. When you have time, you can look at it. There is that verse, Bhogaishvara prasaktanam taya aprita chetasam vyavasatmika buddhihi samadhav na vidiyate. The translation is very nice. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence. If we are attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, then Krishna tells us we become bewildered by such things, like Ravana was. And what is the result of that? The resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. This is what we call a warning verse in Bhagavad Gita. There are positive verses and there are warning verses. And this is a warning for us. Renunciation is actually premised on resolute determination to be faithful to the Lord, to be chaste to the Lord. But we will not be able to be resolute and determined if we are very attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence. Sita Mata, she was not attached to anything. She was only attached to being with Lord Ram. That's why when Lord Ram was to be exiled, when he went to see Sita and said, Sita, I'm going to be exiled, his first point was, you should stay here. He did not want her to stay there because he wanted to be renounced from her. No. He wanted her to stay back because Ramayana said he felt that Sita had grown up in so much opulence. She was such a delicate personality that he could not conceive how he could actually bring her into the forest. And it would be too painful to see her lying down on hard ground and living without opulence. Look at the consideration of the Lord. How considerate the Lord was. Even though he was inseparable from Sita, yet he was willing to sacrifice that inseparable nature of Sita just so that she was in a better position. This is also an aspect of renunciation. Renunciation just does not mean that we only think of our comfort or think of ourselves. Real renunciation is when we forget ourselves and we are very attentive to the needs and very attentive to how we can serve others. Lord Ram displayed this all the time. In the whole of Ramayana, Lord Ram never thought of himself. He was always thinking, how would Mother Sita be? How would Brother Lakshman be? How would my father feel? How would even Kaikeyi, who betrayed him, how would she feel? These were all the things that he wanted. And this is renunciation. And therefore, when we talk of renunciation, we understand that the relationship of Mother Sita and Lord Ram tells us how an ideal couple should live in Krishna consciousness. 90% of us are grihasthas. And if you're not grihastha, then good luck. Eventually you'll become grihastha. It's very difficult in this material world not to become grihastha. I remember Guru Maharaj would used to meet brahmacharis and they'd be very, very fired up, And Maharaj would say, just give yourself 10 years. And after a while, if you're not careful, something will catch you somewhere. So being a grihastha doesn't mean we are not renounced. But how we use this ashram is important. Sita Mata had no one in her heart except Ram. And Lord Ram had no one in his heart except Sita. So if we want to follow and we want to please Lord Ram, then we must follow in the footsteps of Mother Sita. This is the value of chastity and this is the value of determination. So this is the second quality that we understand now. So we understood the strength, we understood renunciation, and now let's look at another great opulence of Lord Ram, and that is the great quality of wealth. When we think that the Lord is always wealthy, it means that everything in this world actually belongs to him. That is the real meaning of wealth. Krishna and Lord Rama are considered to be wealthy because there is nothing in this world that does not belong to them. So we cannot claim to be wealthy because whatever we have accumulated does not even belong to us in the first place. What to speak then of anything that we will take? We can take nothing with us. Even our sharir, Prabhus and Matajis, will leave us at the point of the cremation or at the point of the burial. It will not be there. So actually when we speak of opulence, we realize that Lord Ram was the proprietor of the entire universe. And he is the proprietor of the entire universe. In Ramayana, Lord Ram was so powerful, so wealthy, because the kingdom actually was so great. But the real quality of wealth in Lord Ram in Ramayana is actually his good qualities. In the 4th canto, 21st chapter, 44th verse, it is very nicely stated, Gunayanam Sheeladhanam. Gunayanam Sheeladhanam means one's real wealth is actually one's reservoir of good qualities. Good behavior is really our wealth. And we see this amazing good behavior in Lord Ram. That's why Lord Ram is known as Maryada Purushottam Avatar. Why? Because he is considered to be the perfect exemplary character. A good example of his opulence of wealth of character is seen when Kaikeyi decided to find the great opportunity of putting Bharat, her son, as the king in place of Lord Ram and banishing Lord Ram to the forest for 14 years. If you remember, Mother Kaikeyi was actually such a great, she was such a great wife of Dasharath, and she had great qualities, Ramayana says. In fact, of all the wives that Dasharath had, his personal favorite actually was Kaikeyi. And Ramayana tells us, even though Kaushalya was the biological, so to speak, the real mother or the mother who gave birth, even though the Supreme Personality of Godhead is never given birth. And in this case, Lord Ram appeared through amazing circumstances. Even though Kaushalya was known as the mother of Lord Ram, actually Kaikeyi's love for Lord Ram sometimes equaled, if not exceeded, even that of Mother Kaushalya. But how could such a person with such great qualities, such wealth of qualities, become so indifferent and so hurtful of her beloved Ram? The reason for that, Ramayana says, is because of Asat Sangha. Asat Sangha means bad association. If we want to maintain the wealth, if we want to maintain the wealth of our good behavior, we have to renounce bad association. We have to use the opulence of renunciation to renounce bad association. And Kaikeyi's association, which was not good, came from Manthara. And this Manthara, she was a hunchback. And she was the nurse of Kaikeyi. Her only interest was to make sure Kaikeyi would always retain a powerful position in the kingdom. Because if Kaikeyi went out of business, then Manthara would also go out of business. So actually Manthara was not a well-wisher of Kaikeyi, but she just wanted Kaikeyi to boost her own position as the chief maid of Kaikeyi. Sometimes in this material world, we have to be careful about the association we take. Someone may appear, to be our well-wisher, but sometimes the motives may be wrong. We should also question our motives, Prabhus and Matajis, when we relate with people. We should ask in our hearts, am I really his well-wisher or her well-wisher? And if the heart is not good, we should increase the quality of the devotional service so that we never wish anyone ill and we never wish anyone bad. This is the great quality of wealth of character of Lord Ram. Kaikeyi actually, when Kaikeyi heard that Lord Ram was going to be installed as the king, Ramayana tells us she was so happy. Manthara was the one who came and told her the news. But when Kaikeyi gave her a pearl necklace to say, thank you for giving me good news, Manthara took the necklace and smashed it to the ground. And she said, what good news is this? This means you will be marginalized, Bharat will be thrown out of the kingdom, and your son will become nothing in this kingdom. Because Kaushalya will become very, very puffed up, and you will become subordinate as a queen. And the moment these ideas came into the heart of Kaikeyi, because she was close and trusted Manthara, Ramayana tells us that her heart became poisoned. And over the course of an entire day, hours and hours, Manthara kept talking and talking and talking. And this talk was nothing to do with Lord Ram. This talk was all about installing envy in the heart of Kaikeyi. So Ramayana tells us that the opulence of wealth of character in Kaikeyi was taken away by the bad association of Manthara. But when finally Lord Ram came and he walked into the chamber on the day of his installation, instead of seeing Dasharatha very happy, he saw Dasharatha becoming a picture of great dejection and depression. And what happened? He turned to Mother Kaikeyi because she was seated next to Dasharath. And he asked a very important question. The question Lord Ram asked shows us the great wealth of his renunciation and the great wealth of his quality. What did he say? He said, my dear mother, what has happened to my father? Why is he so dispirited? Is he unhappy with me? And then he says, have I done something to offend him? This is the mood of a devotee. The real wealth of a devotee is always checking himself or herself. Have I offended anyone in any way? Lord Ram did not turn the tables on Kaikeyi. The first thing he asked was, have I done anything? And then when Kaikeyi said, I want to tell you what Dasharath wants from you, but I'm doubting whether you will follow his words. Ramayana tells us that Lord Ram became hurt by the statement of Kaikeyi, because he said, Mother, why do you doubt me? I will never go against what father says. And so Kaikeyi then said, Father wants you banish 14 years and install Bharat as king. Will you do that? And Ramayana tells us when Lord Ram heard that, he did not even become slightly distressed or agitated. Amazing. He was not agitated or distressed. Instead, he cheerfully replied, My dear mother, I shall immediately retire to the forest as you desire. That's what he said. I shall immediately retire to the forest as you desire. And then he said, let the messengers summon Bharat immediately. I have no regrets. And this is the important point of wealth. Lord Ramchandra said, my only wish is that you and Father may always look upon me favorably. Please don't harbor any ill feelings towards me, Mother. These two lines show us the great quality of Lord Ram. The Lord could be very proud and aristocratic and say, why should I bother about what you say? I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I will enthrone myself as the king. He could do that. He is Swarat. He can do anything he wants. But Lord Ram showed us that in the face of adversity, our characters will always be tested. In the face of adversity, our wealth will always be tested. And his wealth was his great character. Two important things that come out from here is that Lord Ram wished that Mother Kaikeyi and his father always look upon him favorably. And this is what we should do with everyone. We should always look at everybody favorably in this world. Even if something looks very bad, we must somehow or another pray to our spiritual masters that they give us the insight and the strength to see the hand of Krishna. And we always pray that we don't harbor any ill feelings to others, and others also do not harbor any ill feelings to us. And that is the only way we can do that, is to actually just behave ourselves. So good behavior is intrinsic in a devotee. It's very important. And that is the renunciation of wealth. And that is the quality of wealth. And what is an amazing thing is, when Lord Ram mentioned this to Lakshman, Sita and Kaushalya, Kaushalya Mata became so upset. Lakshman became so angry with Kaikeyi because he's Balaram, he's very strong, and he was very upset. And he said, let me slay. I'm ready to slay Kaikeyi if it's necessary. In fact, later when even Bharat hears this from his mother, he becomes upset. But you know what Lord Ram told all of them? He said, do not blame Kaikeyi. She is only an instrument in the hands of providence. This is how we become peaceful in devotional service. Lord Ram showed us that he did not see his exile as a terrible tragedy. He showed us that he saw the hand of providence. And he said that providence, meaning the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the real shaper of our destinies. And I've got news for you in terms of the opulence of wealth. The opulence of wealth is also transferable in the spiritual world. Very often when we want to transfer our money, we can only do it by electronic transfer, isn't it? Or we give money to someone. But quality of good character can also be transferred. Because Bharat, Lakshman, they were continuously thinking of Lord Ram always. When Manthara at one point came out of her chambers, Shatrughan, the brother of Lord Ram, caught hold of her and dragged her to Lakshman and said, this is the woman who has caused all the problems in our life. We should punish her and we should slay her. Do you know what Bharat, it's not Lakshman. When Shatrughan caught hold of Manthara, he brought her to Bharat. And he said, this is the woman who has poisoned your mother. We should do something about her. Do you know what Bharat told Shatrughan? Bharat told Shatrughan that we should not kill anyone. We should not harm Manthara or Kaikeyi, because I know that if I ever meant ill to them, Lord Rama, my dearmost brother, would never forgive me. He would be very upset. So just by remembering Lord Ram, his wealth of good qualities become transferred to a devotee. So even if we don't have the great quality of good qualities, if we just remember the instructions of our spiritual masters, if we just remember the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, then Ramayana gives us the great assurance that we will be guided by their instructions. We will be protected by instructions. And that wealth of great character will be transferred to us according to the mercy of the great acharyas. So wealth here means compassion. Wealth here means tolerance. And wealth here means commitment to religious principles and dharma based on Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana. Now we come to the quality of beauty as an opulence. And we all know that in Ramayana, Lord Ram is considered very beautiful. And this beauty of Lord Ram is actually described when Surpanaka comes in front of him. Surpanaka, when she comes in front of Ram, she was so amazed by his beauty that she forgot to transform herself into a beautiful maiden. When you actually look at Valmiki's Ramayana, actually Surpanaka comes in her own form. In other Ramayanas, Surpanaka changes and looks beautiful. But in Valmiki's Ramayana, she actually comes in her own form. Why? Because she forgot to change. And why did she forget to change? Because when she saw Lord Ram, she thought, my God, what an amazing beauty. If even Asuras can be attracted to Lord Ram, then how much more struggling devotees like us are actually attracted to Lord Ram. That is the beauty. You know, very often when you're envious of someone, even if they're beautiful, you cannot see beauty in them. You only see ugliness in them. The Asuras are by nature envious. But even with the nature of envy, they can appreciate the Lord's beauty. That means his beauty is amazing. It is transcendental. And that's why it is stated, Surpanaka had ugly face. Surpanaka had a large protruding belly. And she was very haggard. But Lord Ram looked greenish blue in complexion. He had lotus petal eyes. He was very youthful. He was well proportioned. Ramayana says he was very muscular as a king. And he had all the signs of royalty. So when she saw him, immediately she proposed marriage. But Lord Ram laughed, He was not upset with her. He laughed and said, my dear maiden, forgive me, but I'm already a married man. And certainly a young and beautiful girl like you, if you got married to me, and knowing that I also have a wife, you can't tolerate living with another wife. Maharaj would tell us that two women, if you put them even in the kitchen, there may be some trouble. Because the nature of all living entities, in Kali Yuga, Maharaj said, even two men, you put them in a room, eventually they will fight. What to speak of two wives to a husband? So Lord Ram told her, my young and beautiful maiden. This is very interesting. Lord Ram was not being sarcastic, because Lord Ram was seeing the beauty of the pure spirit soul in every living entity. And that's why he was so gentle in his words. He did not want to make a mockery out of Surpanaka. And he told her, you please go to see Lakshman. And in that one episode, we see the great beauty of Lord Ram. Not only in his physical attributes, but the beauty of his kindness. Even though she looked physically ugly, he did not take the opportunity to deride her. He did not take the opportunity to put her down. He did not become offended by what she was saying. He did not do that. So beauty of a person is not only defined by physical attributes, but the beauty of a person, and especially the Lord, is defined by his mercy and his kindness. So even when Surpanaka came that way, he treated her with respect, and he treated her with what we call honor. Only when she became very malignant towards Sita did he produce the quality of protection, and he protected his devotee. And that is also the beauty of Lord Ram. Jatayu was a great bird, was very old, but he tried very hard to stop Ravana from catching and kidnapping Sita and going away. In that great battle, Jatayu knew he was going to lose, but he did it for the sake of Lord Ram, and he did it because it was not important for him to win or lose. It was important for him to stop something that was wrong and serve the Lord. When the Lord saw Jatayu initially almost dead, the Lord thought he was one of Ravana's men or a demonic personality. But when he saw the quality of Jatayu and saw the actions of Jatayu, in Ramayana, Lord Ram actually describes Jatayu as, "O most beautiful bird." So the beauty of Jatayu was not in his external feature. The beauty of Jatayu was actually in his wonderful character. Same thing with Kubja in the Supreme Personality of Godhead's Krishna book chapters. Kubja was a hunchback, didn't look very nice, but she had great love for Krishna and wanted to put sandalwood on him. When she lovingly applied sandalwood on him, what was the effect? Krishna transformed her into the most beautiful person in Mathura. In fact, she was so beautiful, it is said that she became Miss Mathura. No one was more beautiful than her actually. But the beauty of her did not attract Krishna physically, Prabhupada says in Krishna book. It was actually her service that was most important. So this is how Lord Ram explains to us in Ramayana the opulence of beauty. Beauty. And the penultimate opulence we can speak about is knowledge. When we speak about knowledge, in the material world, Prabhupada says, some of us know something, some of us know something more, but not everyone knows everything. It's an important point. But Krishna and Lord Ram is the super soul in everyone's heart. And they know everything. All knowing. All knowing. So we may ask in Ramayana, how did Lord Ram show this wonderful potency? In a very simple incident. Lord Ram actually knew where Mother Sita was. Even though she was kidnapped. Lord Ram is the super soul. He is never actually separated from Sita Mata, who is non-different from Goddess Lakshmi. And Goddess Lakshmi is never separated from Vishnu. They may appear to be geographically separated, but they are never separated in heart. So even though Lord Rama actually was appearing anxious and looking around to find Mother Sita, in his heart he knew and always protected Mother Sita from Ravana. How did he do that? He inspired Brahmaji when Mother Sita was kidnapped and she was brought to the Ashokavan, if you remember, the grove of Ashok in Lanka. What did Ravana tell her? Ravana told her, my dear maiden, I'm in love with you. Please marry me. And Sita said, I will not marry you because I am completely 100% dedicated to Lord Ram. And if you're not careful, Lord Ram is going to come and he will vanquish you. And if you ever touch me or do anything to me, you will be completely destroyed. So Ravana became fearful. And what did he tell what did he tell her? He told her, my love for you is very genuine. It is very great and deep. But Sita laughed and said, your love for me is very shallow. It has no value. And Ravana proved it immediately. You know why? Because immediately he said, I will give you 12 months. These Rakshasis will stay with you and feed you. You must eat and you must drink. After 12 months, if you do not marry me and do not love me, I will have you chopped up into little pieces and I will eat you for dinner. Is that the sign of someone who loves somebody? I don't think so. He revealed his mind like a true Rakshasa. You don't want to love me? Then I'll eat you up. So that is not real love, you see. But the important point is, Mother Sita refused to touch food or water given by the Rakshasas. Why? It was not prasadam. It was not prasadam. So she was very tired. And Brahma and Lord Ram began to worry about Mother Sita. In his heart, he began to worry that Mother Sita becomes very tired. And so he inspired Brahma to worry about Mother Sita. When Brahmaji realized that Mother Sita was in the grove and she didn't want to eat, he then told Lord Indra. He told Indra, one of the great devatas, do one thing, Indra. You please now go and bring some heavenly sweet rice, kheer. Bring some heavenly sweet rice and give it to Mother Sita. This sweet rice should have the potency that if she drinks it, she will never have hunger and thirst for the entire length of time she is in the Ashoka grove. So Indra actually manifested himself in front of Mother Sita. And when he manifested himself in front of Mother Sita, he said, my dear mother, I have come from Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma wants me to give you the sweet rice. Please take it. Initially, Mother Sita thought this is another form of Ravana. But when she saw that Indra's feet was above the ground, when she saw that his garlands were not fading, she knew that he was actually a Devata. So she accepted it. Why did she accept it? That's important. Because Indra is a devotee of the Lord. And because Mother Sita knew in her heart that Indra had come because he was inspired by Brahma. And Brahma had come because Hridaye Kavayo, he had become inspired by the Lord as supreme super soul in the heart. And so Mother Sita took the sweet rice, and Ramayana tells us, before she drank the sweet rice, you know what she did? She actually offered it to Lord Ram. Even in that moment, despite her hunger and thirst, she did not take it separate from Lord Ram. That is determination. That is chastity. That is wealth of character. That is the wealth of knowledge, knowing that everything belongs to Lord, and whatever that is given to me is His mercy. So I must offer Him first, and then I must take it. And then she drank the kheer. And the moment she drank it, she became so powerful that for the whole time that she stayed there, she never had to touch any asat sangha of the Rakshasis through the food or through the drink. And this is how Lord Ram, all-knowing, knew the heart of Mother Sita. He knew she wouldn't touch anything, and therefore he inspired Brahma to inspire Indra to give her some sweet rice. And this is the greatness, the mercy, the kindness, the all-knowing feature of the Lord. And if one has all these 5 opulences the way Lord Ram possessed, then the last opulence of fame is a natural byproduct of all these 5 opulences. Because how can someone who possesses all these 5 opulences not be considered the most famous personality in all the world? And that's why there's nothing to say about fame, because all these 5 great opulences naturally lead to genuine fame of the Supreme Personality of God. Jai Shri Ramchandra Bhagavan Ki. So we had time today just to be able to meditate on the beautiful opulences of Lord Ram and to understand some of his great qualities and some of his great pastimes. Balaram Prabhu, I'm finished with the festival lecture. I'm sorry I took a bit more time. Shall I just sing for 5 minutes, Prabhu, and then you can continue with your arati?
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
No, thank you.
Should I start arati, Prabhu, or should I wait? What do you say?
Sorry, Prabhu?
Should I start arati, or you have to go, right?
Well, I'll have to stop in about 5 minutes. If you want, okay, we can skip the kirtan and you can continue with arati actually. And I will continue with my days because I have to give a lecture in 45 minutes, but it's not transcendental, it's work.
Okay.
Which is also transcendental if you use it well. So I leave it to you.
Okay.
What should I do?
No, you go ahead, Prabhu. We'll start after you sing kirtan.
I'll just sing for 5 minutes. Let's meditate on Ram. If I use the mic, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Can you also hear the harmonium?
Yes, Prabhu.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Shri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya 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 Ram Jaya Jaya. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya 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 Sitaram Lakshmana Ji ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Gurudeva ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki, Nitai Guru Premanjana. Some random question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Wishing you all the best in your spiritual life and have a blissful Navami. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Jai. His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada
ki Jai. Thank you. I'm going to give the
Prabhu ki Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Jai. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna devotees, next part of the program is going to be Arati, and we will continue Kirtan and Arati. If you would like to continue to stay, please feel free to stay. So we are going to start Arati now. Hare Krishna. Badri, can you start Kirtan?
Yes, Prabhu. Devotees, Badri, just a second, Badri. Badri, just a second. Surya Prabhu, just a second, Prabhu. Hare Krishna devotees, you can see the RT video by clicking on the Prahalad name there. Just double click the Prahalad and go on lock view. Just right click and say lock view so that you continue to see the deities there. Hare Krishna. Badri, we can start with the Kirtan.
Okay, Prabhu.
Bhagavatam